There was no pressure put on them whatsoever. I put no pressure on them whatsoever. I could have. I think it would probably, possibly have been okay if I did, but I didn't. I didn't put any pressure on them whatsoever. You know why? Because they want to do the right thing, and they know about corruption, and they probably know that Joe Biden and his son are corrupt.
So we're joined now by our national security editor, Bill Faries, usually in Washington, but obviously with so much going on in New York, you're here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So forgive me if I'm confused. First, there was no talk about Ukraine a few days ago in this conversation the president had with the leader of Ukraine. Then he said, well, maybe he had mentioned it. Now he says he didn't. Is this partly semantics? I mean, could he have mentioned Ukraine but not said, oh, by the way, will you please go after Joe Biden and his son?
Well, it's certainly possible that, we know he did have a call with Ukraine's leadership and could have discussed the issue of corruption. That's been a long-standing issue with Ukraine that goes back to the Obama administration, in fact. There's been a lot of concern about where Western support for Ukraine really ends up. That's very different than talking to the president of the country and saying, is there any way you could, investigate one of my biggest political opponents here? That's really the crux of the issue. That's what has people on the Democratic side saying, let's see a transcript of that call.
Is it fair to say we didn't get any further ahead on it today?
No, I think President Trump is now saying, listen, I may have discussed some of these things, but if I did, I discussed it in the context of corruption, which nobody wants to see.
Can I quickly get into a question about Iran and U.S. and any talks we might be seeing? There's so many bilateral meetings this week.
Right. And 2 weeks ago, it seemed like the U.S. and Iran were headed on a path to having talks between President Trump and President Hassan Rouhani. The attacks on the Saudi Aramco oil facilities just a little over a week ago really stalled that effort. And we're still waiting to see if some of the sideline diplomacy that's going on here, Emmanuel Macron of France, Shinzo Abe of Japan, will result in any kind of a breakthrough that lowers tensions. We haven't seen signs of that, but it's a very easy forum for that kind of a breakthrough to happen. The leaders are here. There's no logistics or meeting rooms or anything like that to work out. They're on the ground. It's just a matter of getting them into a room.